Today we're jumping right into a mystery that literally shatters the biological rules we basically always accepted as absolute truth. Okay, let's dive right into Section 1, Meet the Immortal Jellyfish, also known by its scientific name, Turritopsis dohrnii.
That brings us to Section 2, the science of transdifferentiation. We're talking about rewriting the very rules of cellular biology.
All right, let's move to Section 3, the endless life cycle, looping through birth, growth, and rebirth.
Now let's look at Section 4, a global marine invader, spreading across the world's oceans, which leads us perfectly into Section 5, what it means for humanity, the quest for human longevity.
Which brings us to a huge question. Is it truly possible to live forever? This has haunted humanity for thousands of years, right? Philosophers, kings, modern scientists, they've all been chasing this mythical fountain of youth.
But the reality? It's a complete contrast. The secret to immortality actually fits right on your fingernail. It's incredibly tiny and, honestly, surprisingly fragile. So picture this. It's about the size of a human fingernail, and it features this beautifully transparent, bell-shaped body.
Let's move on and see how the story of this creature built. It actually goes from a pretty simple 19th century discovery all the way to cutting-edge modern science.
All right, so the secret lies in a biological process called transdifferentiation. Now, what's really interesting here is how it completely defies standard aging.
So let's walk through how this mind-blowing process actually happens out in the wild. Step 1. The jellyfish faces some sort of life-threatening crisis. This could be physical damage, maybe starvation, disease, or, just plain old age. To put that into perspective, let's compare it to normal metamorphosis. We all know how that works, right? A caterpillar grows, spins a cocoon, and transforms into a butterfly. It's a one-way street. Under standard, happy conditions, Turritopsis dohrnii goes through a relatively normal jellyfish life cycle. Step 1, it starts as a fertilized egg. Step 2, that develops into a free-swimming larva. But, hey, there is a really crucial point we need to make here. We have to distinguish between being immortal and being invincible.
Because of this insane survival trick, this incredible little creature has actually become one of the most widespread marine invasive species on the planet. And how does a fingernail-sized jellyfish pull that off?
Right now, scientists all around the world are actively studying the DNA sequences of this exact jellyfish in labs. They are frantically trying to figure out if we can somehow replicate this mechanism. And the potential breakthroughs?
Ultimately, this seemingly insignificant, yet totally beautiful little creature completely challenges absolutely everything we thought we knew about life and death. I want you to just close your eyes for a quick second. Picture the vast, deep blue ocean. It is holding secrets we are honestly only just scratching the surface of.
We look at the whole cycle of birth, growth, and death as an inescapable rule for basically every multicellular animal on Earth. But what if I told you that biological immortality isn't just some sci-fi myth? What if it's 100% real and actually swimming around in our oceans right now?
It doesn't look like a mythical monster at all. It's more like a delicate little drop of glass. Right smack in the center, visible straight through its clear tissue, is a bright red stomach. Trailing behind it in the ocean currents are hundreds of delicate, incredibly fine silk thread tentacles.
See, Turritopsis dohrnii was first spotted back in the 1880s in the Mediterranean Sea, and for over a century, it was just another jellyfish in the record books, nothing special. But then, fast forward to the 1990s,
normally once a cell becomes a specialized adult cell, like say a muscle cell or a nerve cell, its identity is totally locked in. It ages, and eventually it dies, but through transdifferentiation.
But instead of dying, it triggers an emergency reset. Step 2, it actually reabsorbs its own tentacles and shrinks its bell-shaped body down into a tiny little blob. Step 3, it slowly sinks down to the ocean floor. And step 4, this is the crazy part, but transdifferentiation? It is like watching a fully grown butterfly suddenly fold up its wings, shrink down, and turn back into a caterpillar.
Step 3, that larva settles on the ocean floor and turns into a stationary or sessile polyp colony. And finally, step 4, the adult Medusa jellyfish eventually buds right off that colony and swims away. That is the standard path. But the real magic happens when that adult Medusa gets stressed out. Yes, the jellyfish is capable of an infinite biological reset. But it is absolutely not indestructible. It can still be eaten by predators, it can succumb to a sudden fatal disease,
by hitching global rides in the ballast water of massive cargo ships. When these huge ships take on water for stability in one port, they inadvertently scoop up these tiny jellyfish. Now, The dark, stressful, starving conditions inside a ship's hull would easily kill most creatures. But Turtopes' Dorney?
They are staggering. We are talking about the potential for actual aging reversal. We're talking revolutionary new techniques in regenerative medicine where human cells could be reprogrammed to heal catastrophic injuries. And, of course, the big one.
It serves as this living, breathing reminder that nature is just vastly more complex and capable than we ever imagined.
And today's explainer, it's going to be a wild ride because we're looking at a living organism that somehow manages to hit the reset button on its very own biological clock.
Now, you might think the only creature capable of living forever would be some massive, ancient, kraken-like leviathan lurking in the deep. It looks so simple and beautiful, right? But seriously, do not let that fragile appearance fool you. This tiny little organism is hiding a massive biological superpower that scientists are desperately trying to unravel.
Researchers made this absolutely astonishing realization and completely rediscovered its immortality mechanism. Today, it is the subject of intense active lab research all over the globe. So how exactly does it pull this off? This jellyfish's specialized adult cells can literally change their entire identity and function. They revert back to become totally different types of cells for a younger organism. It just throws conventional biology right out the window.
It completely transforms those adult cells back into a juvenile, basically baby, polyp state. It literally hits rewind on its biological clock and starts its life completely over. Or imagine a fully grown human adult just shrinking back into an infant to start their life all over again. It is, quite literally, cellular magic.
Instead of dying, it skips the egg and larva phases entirely and loops directly back to stage 3, the polyp colony. It just skips the line.
Or die from a really severe environmental change, if it gets killed before it even has the chance to trigger that reset. So it's biologically immortal, sure, but it can definitely still be killed.
It just says, no problem, initiates its transdifferentiation, reverts to a little polyp, and simply waits out the long journey. Then it gets released into a brand new ocean on the totally opposite side of the world. Human shipping has basically, without even knowing it, spread this immortal marvel everywhere.
The possibility of extreme human longevity. It is basically the holy grail of biology, and it might just be locked inside this tiny, fingernail-sized jellyfish.
It is literally a tiny creature teaching us the absolute boundaries of biological possibility.
But, stepping back from the medical applications for a second, we really have to ask ourselves a pretty deep philosophical question. What does true biological immortality actually mean for ecosystems, for evolution, and just the natural order of life and death? The entire ocean, the entire planet really, functions on this cycle of birth, growth, and death. It's what drives evolution. But contrast that with this quietly pulsing immortal jellyfish, just continuing its endless loop of rebirth. If humans, or even other animals, could suddenly access this ability, it would fundamentally shatter the natural order as we know it.
Which leaves us with one final and honestly very personal question for you to ponder. If science fully unlocked this secret from the immortal jellyfish, and you were offered the chance, would you actually want biological immortality? It is a pretty heavy thought to leave you with today, but seriously, let me know your thoughts on this in the comments down below. I am fascinated to read what you all think. And hey, if you enjoyed this explainer and want to dive into more incredible science and ocean mysteries, make sure to hit that like button, share this with a friend, and subscribe to the channel. I'll catch you in the next one.